Hey guys, welcome back to the Ambrant DIY series. Today I'm going to be showing you how to plug and fill over some holes made in weatherboard siding, man-made holes from old plumbing. We've taken the plumbing out of the wall and we're left with a big hole. I'm going to show you how to plug this and fill over it so you never know it was even there. Let's get into it. Alright, as you can see, we've got two holes here. One I've already gone ahead and plugged with my timber, and this other one here, as you can see, there isn't anything behind the weatherboard. It's literally just a hole that goes into an empty cavity behind it. So we're going to have to be very careful as we plug this one. This one along here, as we've stripped the internal linings as we're doing renovations inside, I've been able to screw a solid piece of timber to the back of the weatherboard, which makes the job a lot easier. Now, first things first, you're going to need a hole saw, roughly the same size as the holes you're trying to plug. What you can do to make sure it's the right size is just make sure it fits the hole nice and snugly. You don't want it to be too small. Next thing you want to do is find some timber, treated preferably. You want it to either be roughly the same thickness as your timber weatherboards or slightly thinner, especially if you've got a timber backing screwed to the back of the weatherboard like we have in that second hole I showed you. Now what you're going to want to do, grab your drill and your hole saw and cut out your plug from your timber. Next up we're going to use some glue. We're using Gorilla Grip 10-minute cure. Any glue will do as long as it's quite sticky. You want it to go off fairly quickly as well, so your plug doesn't fall out. We're just going to smooth it around this edge here. And then ease it into the hole. Now you also want the plug to sit just back from the face of the weatherboard too, maybe 2 or 3 millimeters. So when we go to fill over the top, we've got a nice bed of filler. So what I've done is I've smeared the glue evenly around the outside, given it a good 2mm bead of glue. Then I'm just going to gently ease it into the hole, twisting the plug slightly as I push it in. Now remember, you want to push the plug in just enough so it's sitting just below the face of the weatherboard. Now, I'm using a drill bit here, the same size as the pilot hole, to push it in and turn it at the same time. This helps stop the plug falling right through the weatherboard onto the inside of the wall. If this happens, you'll just have to cut another plug and start again. Alright, so we've left that to cure. We've come back the next day. You're going to need a nice sharp knife to cut off the excess glue around the outside of the holes. You don't want any glue sticking out past the face of the weatherboard. So trim this all back so it's nice and neat. You can also use a bit of sandpaper if the glue is sandable. Also, if you've got one, a paint scraper will help you to ease the paint back away from the edge of the hole to allow the filler, when we use it, to bed in properly to the weatherboard and get good binding to the substrate or the timber. You can also use some sandpaper as well if you need to, however this will take a little bit longer than using your paint scraper. Give it a good brush off, make sure there's no dust or debris left around your plugs. and then get some filler. Filler we're using is basically like an automotive filler, but it's also able to be used for building. It's quite a runny filler. It's a 2-pack filler, so essentially a base filler plus a hardener. So what we're going to do is we're going to mix up the first batch, apply it, and if necessary follow up with a second coat. Make sure you mix it up thoroughly and don't overfill too much. Really smooth it out. This makes the sanding easier later. Alright, second coat of filler now. Once again, make sure you smooth it out nicely, and make sure to do it fairly quickly too, as this stuff can go off quite quick. Alright, we've left that for a good couple of hours to really harden off properly, and we're back with an orbital sander, some sandpaper on it, about 80 grit, to give it a good sand off and smooth it off really nicely. Make sure it feels smooth to the touch, no ridges, no lumps, no bumps. Give it a good sand. And of course, if you don't have an orbital sander, you can do this with just sandpaper and a wooden block, or a sanding block of some sort, but of course it will take much longer. Alright, that looks nice and smooth. Give it another good brush off, get rid of any sanding dust. And finally, the last step before painting this wall is giving it a good coat of primer. We recommend using an oil-based primer if you have one available, otherwise water-based will do at a pinch. So there you have it. That's how you plug and fill your timber weatherboards without anyone ever knowing the holes were ever there. Hope you've liked the video. Please like and share. Thanks for watching Ambrant DIY. Cheers.